Hi there. Okay. Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing there? Hi. Okay. I have to do the sound check for myself. Okay. So what I'm gonna do? Actually, no, I can't. I can't do that. Yeah. I'm gonna ask you if everything's okay with the sound. I'll do something. I'm gonna listen to myself. So 1 second, please. Okay. I think it's okay. Okay. 1 second, please. Okay. 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 Okay, so everything is okay? Okay. I always have to check this because, I have issues with sound very often, but I am with my microphone today. So, hello everybody, and hi to everybody in the chat, to all the moderators helping out, and everybody else. Hello, Slavik, Justine, Rowena, Michael Cryon, CPS, Senada, and Reen. If you see me a little bit tired, I actually am a little bit tired, but I'll try to do my best. And that is because I just did this live in Spanish a few hours ago, and it was going on for 2 hours and a half. Don't worry, I think I'm gonna try to squeeze it into a shorter amount of time. And also that happened because, surprise, surprise, I actually was reading Yaski's answers live, and that happened because, well, I was almost to actually finish my live in Spanish, and then I saw Yaski chatting with Robert. She was online, and I saw him asking some questions that were actually given in my chat. So she was answering, and I started to read those answers, and then we started adding up other questions. So she was answering live. She was answering live all these questions. I'm going to read the answers. I have them here prepared. So you're going to also have this information. So that's why the Spanish live went on for longer. Um, and that's why I'm a bit tired now because I was talking so much and a lot of energy there. So thank you everybody. Thank you very much. We're gonna get straight to it. And now let me divide my screen here very fast. Okay. Now I have several points. Now today's live is about mainly about Mari Swaruu and some of the points mentioned in her story, in her life. This is especially for those who have watched her last 3 videos. And I'm talking about Mari Swaruu, who has her own channel called Swaruu Official, with one F because that's from Spanish. So if you have watched those last 3 videos, especially the last one, when she is describing how she arrived here from another timeline, so I'll be mentioning some of the points here, some of the doubts that some of you have. So I'm pretty sure many questions will be answered if I have time. If you are still around, I may catch some of the questions from the chat. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody, and let's get straight to it. Vicky is saying, "I love Mari's videos." Well, that was my initial question. How do you think? How do you feel about this whole project that Mari is starting here? Has started already. I think it's great. I think it's an awesome idea. I know that Taigetans for a while have been thinking to have their own channel, but there was like no time, or they were busy and doing other things. So it never came to fruition. And now Yaski, now Minerva is beginning her channel, and I think it's great because for the past 5 years, or 4.5 or 4, I'm not sure exactly how many in the English channel, it's like, Robert and I, we are speaking and speaking and speaking, and we can be telling you things like, for example, that they are people, that they are among us, that they are closer than you think, and all that, and sharing their stories and anecdotes. But it's kind of like, sounds like, a story. Like, okay, I believe you. I believe they are among us, close to us. But it does sound like, it's coming as a story from me who supposedly have this contact. So there is like this indirect line here. And it's much different when it's actually coming from them, from someone, from Mari in this case. Thank you very much, Rio, Chris Rabongo. Okay. So it's different when it's coming from one of them and in their own words, with their own essence and energy and effort put into it. You can hear that story directly. Directly. That doesn't mean, I don't mean by that, that when I'm making videos, it's somehow distorted. It's not. Everything is exactly as they say, word by word. We don't change anything. So there are no filters there in that case. Maybe sometimes the questions and answers are changed in order to give it more order, but everything else is as they said. However, if I come out in an informal way, in a live, or telling you about how they are and the stories they had, or how they are time jumping, it's a story told by me, how I interpret that story, how I interpret their personalities, how I interpret what happened from what we were told. So here you have this direct link and a direct information, and you can feel them closer this way. You can feel the emotions, you can feel the personality. Because that's another thing. It's very difficult for us to transmit only with words how different they are. We always say this, oh, they are so much different among each other, different personalities. Thank you very much, Dooms. But here, you can actually feel yourself, Mari's personality. You can feel it by the choice of images, the choice of music, if there is any, the choice of words, and the way she decides to put it all together. So this way, they feel closer to you. Like, for example, that first image of water, that would never occur to me actually at all to do it that way. But I think it's brilliant because waters, the space is water in higher frequency. They're up there in space in a higher frequency water. So hello, messages from waters above. So that's great. And in this video, I'm going to go through several points. They're kind of random. Maybe some doubts you have, questions that I saw you were asking. And at the end, I'm going to share with you Yaski's answers that she just answered live today in the Spanish live just a few hours ago. Short answers and questions. For example, one of them, typical question that I see everywhere, is how could Mari have lost the data that she had in her ship about her original timeline? How could the ship just erase all that information? So that's one of the questions Yaski answered. So you have to stick till the end, okay, for those answers. Um, Now, before we start talking about Mari and all that, I just want to get one thing out of the way. Um, okay, just a short break, so it doesn't seem like I'm going from one thing to another so fast. Okay, so one thing out of the way. As you know, or maybe not, a year ago or so, YouTube came out with this policy. We got the email and everything, informing all the YouTube creators that no matter what, if the creators decide not to monetize their channels, the YouTube is going to monetize it anyway if they wish so. If they decide they want to, they're going to stick ads all over it, and there's nothing we can do about it. Like there's nothing we can do to control this. Many ads also come up because of the uh, copyrights, content, and stuff like that. But sometimes we think it's not copyright, and then it results that turns out that it is. So, for example, my channel in English, since I started, has been not monetized. 4.5 years I have been doing this in English and I haven't monetized even one video. Spanish, yes, because I need to somehow sustain myself, but I decided to keep the English one pure of commercialism. But YouTube, since that policy came in, started to throw in ads anyway, here and there, wherever they want, however they choose. And it also happened on Mari's video. I think it was the first one. So we actually talked about this with them. Now you understand why I'm talking about this. We talked about this with them, and it's a group decision that we took, that actually we are going to monetize our channels. Because why? Because we decided that it's unfair for some YouTube corporates um, to keep our money, to throw in ads into our videos and benefit from our work, and us not even seeing any benefit from that. It all goes to them. So instead of letting them benefit from our work and from our videos, since the ads are there anyway, we decided just to monetize it ourselves, and this way at least we can benefit from it, because for sure it helps us. It helps us. I'm talking here about my life, but it also helps them. As you will see, because I will talk about the money, how the step downs actually, when they come down to earth, they are in need of physical currency, because they do all kinds of operations, and here we have money. So that's going to help them as well finance some of their operations. It's better kept in our own hands. It's more ethical this way than if it went to some YouTube people, unknowns. We just feel it's unfair if it goes to them instead of us. So I hope it's okay. So now if you see ads on my channel and if you see ads on Mari's channel, that's why. That's because we decided this way. Okay. So that's that. I'm glad you are agreeing and that you see here the point. Arnold, I totally agreed. Okay, very good. So with that said, let's continue to the next subject. And that is, well, Mari's videos in general. First, mm, Mari, as we know, is working very hard on her videos. She has started this, and right away she went very intensely at it. She probably got the same feeling for making it. Thank you very much, Dooms. Uh, um, it's a bit addictive to do this work. It's kind of, it draws you and it takes you in to be making these videos. So that's where Mari is at right now. She has many hobbies, many interests, but as we know, some of these interests actually went on the side right now, and she is like choosing to focus on her videos. We know she works many hours on those videos because she needs to write them from the very beginning, every single word. She writes them in English first, and then she translates it into Spanish, and then she makes the video. So that takes a lot of time. However, I must say this to Mari, to whoever is listening from the team, that it's super important to take breaks. It's super important to pause, because we don't want more stories of them up there getting sick or getting burned out or saturated with work. Um, I hope she does understand that. It's very difficult for me as well, because I love doing this and I don't like to be distracted and I just want to be in my zone and do this. And I think she's feeling the same way. But it's very important to recognize when it's time to pause. So I just want to say this to her: pause, take breaks. It doesn't have to be every single day the video. You need to take care of yourself and your other interests in life as well. So thank you very much, Brad. Thank you very much. Now, we have been telling you for a very long time, since the beginning, that they are people, and that they are living very closely with us. They are living, among us. So, sorry. So, um, I feel like the videos that Mari made about this subject have made an impact, because it's coming from her herself, being a step down, talking about this. And that's what I mean, that when we talk about it, it's like blah blah blah, yeah, I believe you, they are here, but where are they? Well, here they are. Here is one of them speaking about her own experiences. So that's one point. And you have to understand something here very important. And it was mentioned by Mari as well. When they are living so close on Earth among humans, especially Svarus, who are especially linked to Earth and to affairs, they adopt influences, preferences, trends, likes, dislikes from Earth. As Marie said, Earth is their second home. I'm talking about Varus because Taigetans here are a little bit more extraterrestrial, more distant, maybe, some of them more or less, than Svarus. They Varus, they belong to two worlds. They don't actually have just one specific place they would call home. It would be Taygeta, but they haven't really spent that much time in Taygeta. They have spent time on Earth, also other planets like Sindriel, my favorite, which I want to visit very much. So they belong to two cultures. They belong to two worlds, and the influences from both worlds um, is is what mm, and they have influences from both worlds. But that's why for some of you it may seem like, oh, why they are so human, or why they this and that, why does Lasky like dolls from Earth, etc. Thank you very much, Tom. Well, that's why. Okay, you have to understand this point. It's very important if we all want to have this, push towards the disclosure or whatever, interstellar life. You need to understand this very well. That it's not like there is a. We have been saying this all along too. It's not like there is an extraterrestrial world and here we have a human world. We always have been saying the line is very thin. So many of them, and not only Svarus, are living between two cultures. They adopt stuff from Earth, and then Earth adopts stuff from extraterrestrial influences. So that's how it happens. Um, that's how it is, and it is a very important point to understand before like jumping into conclusions or dismissing them as, oh, this is too human. No, no, no. Okay, this is very, very, very important point. Now, uh, another thing that I liked when she said, Mari, in one of her videos, uh, no, we are not going to give any proof because it goes against the interests of our security and because we don't care about convincing anybody. I like this, the way she said that in such a direct, precise way, because I've seen many comments in my YouTube videos like, okay, well, thank you very much, Michelle. Um, okay, well, all this is very nice, but give me, if they really want to be believed, they need to provide proof. And, it always makes me laugh because I know that they don't really care. I mean, they don't really care. They have been living among us for such a long time, Svarus and Nazvarus, other races, and they don't really care about convincing anybody that they are here. They are giving information. Now, listen, this is what we say. This is what we are, but they are not interested in convincing anybody. So it's like, so I just wanted to say this because I really like that Mari was so direct about this. Okay, okay, so okay. Now, since I already touched on the subject of money, by the way, keep your questions maybe for a bit later because probably many of these questions will be answered as I go. Thank you very much, happy girl. So, Uh, money, money. Okay, so as you know, of course, in their culture, there is no money. There's no economy. They don't have a need for that. Just the same as you don't have a need for Nigerian currency in your own country. I'm just going to use this as an example. But if you go to Nigeria in order to sustain yourself and operate there and take a bus or anything or buy a potato, thank you very much, Ben. To buy a potato, you need to have a medium, Nigerian currency. So it's the same way for those step downs. It's not the same in Taygeta, of course, they don't need it there. But I'm talking about the step downs who come here to our culture, our world, just like we do when we go to Nigeria. They need money because this is what we use in this planet. So you have to understand that they do use money when they come here. They have different ways of generating the money, and I'm not going to go into the details here, but they have the infrastructure already set up. It's getting harder and harder for them. Also, they have some problems that they manage, but they do need money when they come down here. Now, some of you have asked this question: how is it that they don't print money? How can they just why don't they print money and replicate money if they can replicate so much, everything, so much? So Athena here responds. I'm going to actually be reading some of the answers throughout this video from them directly. So Athena here responds and she says, the main reason is not technical. It's not technical. The main reason is legal. Because basically, if the Federation finds out, we are in big trouble. They have certain rules about the limits of how to do things, how to manage yourself here while on Earth. So this kind of trick, because it would be like a trick to print money, is not illegal. So so she also says this proves that the Federation indeed is who is running the matrix and does not want it to be disturbed. It goes against the infamous Prime Directive. So that's why, okay, that's why they cannot just go ahead and print money. They have other ways. Now, that's that. That's on the topic of money. Now, another point. Another point. Let's talk just a little bit about Minecraft. Minecraft designs that Minerva is putting there. I like to say Minerva sometimes, even though I know she goes by Mari and she prefers it that way. I change it. Minerva Mari. Thank you very much, Julia. So how did you like that? I mean, it's their way basically to go around those Federation prohibitions of making videos from their ships, etc., or taking pictures. It's their way of showing you what it's like, what the spaces and interiors look like, and exteriors. So I think it's a very good idea that she did it that way. Not everything is 100%. Like for example, in one of the videos, the first video, there is a window design, and it's like in a shape like that, eight, but it's actually oval. It's actually oval. So not everything is 100%. There are some sort of limitations there, but not many. Thank you very much, Nitro Metal. Um, but everything else pretty much is how it is. So it's pretty amazing. I was even like putting it on a big screen for myself and trying to feel if I remember anything, if I can have my memory activated by these renders. But no, I didn't see, I don't remember anything looking at those designs. However, they are very cool. You have to understand it takes super long time to make them, super long time. I don't know how Minecraft works, but I do know that it takes very long time because you have to like put everything separately, build it from scratch. Everything on the wall and the ceiling, every single piece of everything. So it takes a very long time, okay, to do that. So that's that. Also, one of the videos I think about Yasuki, Child's Play, the first one of the videos when she was talking about Yasuki, she's showing the picture of Yasuki's dolls. These are Yasuki's real dolls. They are not taken from the internet, that picture. That picture is a real photograph of those dolls that Yasuki has. So that's pretty amazing, actually. That's like one of the few pictures we have of something that is theirs. Okay, I am looking at the chat. I see that you are talking about other things. Okay, so good. There are no questions that I can be distracted by. Okay, now, very quick comment about something that Minerva mentioned in one of her videos about Yasuki. It was when she said that Yasuki plays because she wants to forget. Because Yasuki is the one who remembers all her previous experiences of past lives and all that, which for her is not even a past life. It's the same life, one big life, just changing the vehicle. That's how she views it. For her, it's all the same. So she said she plays to forget. And some of you have interpreted that as if Yaski wanted to forget entirely, like she just wants to forget everything. She's trying to remove her memories. So here I want to clarify that it's not that. She's just playing to have a pause, to have a little break from her memories, but she's not trying to forget everything. She's the one that actually assimilates and integrates it all, or trying to. In her own words, I'm going to read this. Um, okay. She says, it's just a break from being me. They ask you to know, saying all these weird things. I cannot permanently forget. Yes, I assimilated, but all of this is still hard for me, the memories. And I do not recommend it. I do not recommend remembering past lives at this level of detail, which is basically summed up in one single long life where I only changed my body. The most recent still under construction, still forming. But my mind is far behind. Thank you very much, Michelle. That is tiring and tortures you, remembering. So you have to escape from it somehow. That's why I play. I escape from a reality for a while, but I do choose to remember. However, there are versions of me that have chosen to forget, and they succeeded. But I am the one who remembers. So just this point, I wanted to clarify that yes, he's not trying to forget permanently, just temporarily. And we will talk about the memory a bit later on. Now, what does someone says in the chat here? One second, please. What is the question? When would we get full disclosure, or do we need to ascend first? That's a question from Michelle. Thank you very much. I chose this question because here it's in green. Oh, that's a question a little bit not on topic because I want to focus on Mari here and go through my points. Um, and it's a topic that we already talked about, and it's a complicated thing for me now to get into. If I do, I'm going to be distracted, okay? But basically, there is no full disclosure, not as you imagine it to be, not from governments or official sources. It's going to be through individual people, like what we are doing, for example. So anyway, going back to um, what I was saying. Okay, now Mari and her timeline. I assume you watched the latest video where she is talking about how she arrived here, and she arrived here from another timeline. Thank you very much, Dana. She arrived here from another timeline. As actually all of these Varus, they are all from different timelines. I'm gonna touch on that a little bit later. Um, Now, if you want to understand a little bit more about this whole saga of Varus, who they are, starting from Svaru 1 and 2 and Svaru of Erra, and how it all relates, and Yaski, I recommend you watch the video that I made about a year ago or so, that I describe when I describe all this. It's a very long, complete video. It's called Svaru of Erra or Svaru Yaski. I don't remember now the title. If anybody can put the link to that video in the chat, that would be good. Thanks. And there you can understand more all of that story of Svaru. And also Athena, Svaru X10, is mentioned there. And Mari is also mentioned there. Thank you very much, Luisa. But Mari that is mentioned there in the video is not our Mari. It's Mari who is Yaski's mother. Okay? Because Mari is Yaski's mom, but in another timeline. So you understand it all from that video. Anybody can pull up the link, please, to that video, perhaps. Now, another thing to mention. Another thing to mention. If you watched the last video, you will see there that she's talking about um, how she was chasing this rebellious pilot woman, and how it had to do last year with the attempts of invasion of the Targetan society and all that. Thank you very much, Eva Carolina. That's the video. Watch that, please. Bookmark that video. Uh, or read this transcript. Anyway, so Mari's talking about this rebellious pilot. Thank you very much, Leon. I get very distracted, but it's okay. Thank you very much, all of you. And she was chasing that rebellious pilot. That's how she got lost in timelines. That's how she arrived here. And you'll see that that actually fits with our infiltration video that we just did last year. It has to do with that. So as you see here, pieces come together. Okay. But I'm not going to say more about that. I just wanted to mention that it has to do with what was happening there. That's how Mari arrived here. Now, before she arrived to our timeline, she was living with her mom, who was also Athena, Svaru, or Svaru 10, but a different Athena with her mom, because our Athena is not so biologically a mother to Mari. So anyway, she was living on Earth 5 years. 5 years. She came to Earth when she was about 8, as it was explained. And uh, okay, I see myself putting up the link, but I know I didn't do that. Is that a ghost? Who did that? Okay, okay. Yes, it's Matthias. Okay. Thank you very much, Matthias. He operates my channel as well, there. Okay, so when she arrived to Earth, she was 8, and they stayed together for about 5 years on Earth. 5 years. She was going to school and all. However, one thing that is important here, they were not staying here like completely permanently. They were always coming and going, visiting other planets, going to Sindriel, going to Viera, Andromedan ship, and also traveling back in time. Okay, it's not just to other places in their timeline, but also to other times. So, for example, they would be like going to school, working, and then on the weekend they would visit the 14th century, do something then, and then come back Monday for school. I mean, amazing, right? So now Robert was asking about this, and he said, "But going to the terrestrial school, wasn't it dangerous to her? Like in the sense that maybe the collective unconscious would influence her?" And Yaski here responds. She says, no, because her mentality was already developed. Her ideas about how the world works. There's nothing she could learn from there. She was going there for social reasons to interact with children and play, not to learn anything really, or maybe just to observe like what they are teaching at school there. But Yaski says it's the same as it will happen to us. If we go to the university right now, for example, that's not going to change our ideas, what we know already. So it's the same here. However, uh, okay, so even though that unconscious collective didn't stick to them, but other other influences did stick to them. Because she was with her friends at school. Maybe they were playing certain toys or listening to certain music. So of course that was influencing them, and that's what I'm talking about here. This constant flow of mutual influence between their culture and our culture, and this especially applies to Varus because they're the ones with this tendency to come down here and mingle with humans as step downs. So then about the topic of food, also there was a question how could they deal with food on Earth? They are explaining that they actually tolerate human food more than Taigetans do. Taigetans are more, like I said, are more separated here, more extraterrestrial in that sense, and they are very. I think they're called as very purists about their diet. They take care so much of what they eat, if it's not too toxic, or if it's not too toxic, if it's toxic at all, they wouldn't want that, and they wouldn't tolerate human food as much as Varus can. And this again comes back to the fact that they are more used to it because this is where they spend so much time. Um, Again, if you go to the Nigerian culture and you eat something local, you may get sick the first day when you are there. But if you are there living with those people there, it's a different story. And of course, they were looking for something very healthy as well. It's not like everything is bad here on Earth, so they were always looking for healthy options. Monica she says, "This is so fascinating to have a live talk about ETs, cosmic methods." That's right. Talking about this like it's normal stuff because I mean, for me, it is normal stuff, and I do hope that for you, it's getting more and more normal as well. I think Mari is also normalizing some of these concepts very well. So yeah, it's I mean it's time. This is disclosure, right? This is one of the ways to do the disclosure, even though none of us really like this word. This word, disclosure. It's like something official. I don't know something. Okay, so now talking about all these different lines and how Svarus jump lines and Mari is from a different line and Athena also is from a different timeline. Yaski and even Svaru of Erna. I don't know if you know, but she actually didn't belong to this timeline. She wasn't born here. She also arrived here technologically. And this is nature of Svarus. You have to understand that this is not something that maybe defines Taigetans. They don't engage themselves in travel to that degree. There is a sandwalk elite group, of course, they do that, but not it's not very common among ordinary citizens. For example, there was only one Aneka. We didn't have any versions of Anekas, Aneka 1, 2, 3, whatever. There was one Aladdin, um, one Kila, as far as I know. And here with Varu, we have this phenomenon of all these different variants and versions and all that. And that's because they are jumpers. That's what they do. They have technology and they do that. And they meet themselves in different points in time space. However, here, as Athena was explaining, and it was in the context of a conversation. I don't want to now go into the whole conversation, but what she said is that is this. She said, no, someone says the audio is weird. Is the why would it be weird? Well, the microphone is connected. It should be working just right. Um, oh yeah, it's good. I'm not touching the microphone, so I'm talking here to Matthias. Very strange how this annoys me. My gosh. Well, every time I do this with this microphone, it works perfectly. It worked very well on my Spanish channel. I'm not touching the cable, so it should be working just fine. 1 second, please. Okay, I don't know, because for me everything is working just the same. I didn't touch it. I didn't do anything. So I don't know. I mean, the microphone is the same position as it was in the beginning. No, there's nothing to check, Julia. Just check audio because it's the same as I begin, and it's a good microphone. Thank you very much, Jan. I have been doing interviews and videos with this microphone recently, and everything should be fine. Okay, I don't know. Some people say it's perfect. Some people say it's laggy. I don't know. Sounds good to me. It's when you move back. I don't know. This microphone works perfectly though. It should have no problems. Okay. I'm going. I keep going then. Okay, so where was that? So talking about the time jumping. Okay, so this is how they are. This is how they are. All these barus. And Athena says this here. What complicates this conversation? Okay, I'm gonna. How about if I hold my microphone like this? How about this? How about this? That's why you don't see me doing lives and all that very, very, very much because it's always some technical issues. I hate this. I prefer to make a video and I have more control over that. Maybe it's a connection problem. Yeah, I don't know. But microphone for sure should be okay, better. Okay, so I continue. So this is what Athena says here. Okay, this is what Athena says here. What complicates this conversation, the conversation we had, is that you believe that you belong to a line depending on where you were born. And it's true. That's how I would view that. But don't look at it that way, she says. Uh, you keep jumping lines all the time anyway. And no Sparrow is from one specific line. They just keep going places all the time. And it's where they kind of establish themselves as a base. That's where their line would be, but not necessarily where they were born. Okay, is that good or not? Okay, I continue before I get too annoyed with this. Okay, so in fact, as you know, as you all know this, there is infinite amount of timelines, lines, whatever, for all of us, versions. It's not something that just belongs to Varus. It's not like just it's their phenomenon. Okay, it's something that it, I get so distracted because I'm looking at the chat. Okay, it's something that is a nature of reality, period, for all of us. So there are millions of Goshas, millions of Mongos, etc. What happens here with the Sparrows is that they meet each other and bump into each other and cross each other, and there are several of them sometimes in one place because they use ships with the temporal jump capacity that are called Suzy. Suzy's are the ships that Varus and not only Varus own, and they have that capacity. So that's what they do. But all of us have multiple versions. Okay, so just that. Okay, I continue. Now I asked Yaski how. Well, actually, we asked Athena about this. How Yaski felt when Mari arrived. How did Yaski feel? Because she was the only child at that point there on board. How did she feel? So Athena says that Yaski adopted Mari as her toy, in inverted commas, of course, as her toy. Uh, that's of course like a joke. And it was said there that Yaski brought her here, I mean, this timeline so that she has a playmate. So she's not alone. So she manifested Mari and she manifested her a bit older than herself so that she can be the only one, a little munchkin, so that Mari doesn't like shine over her or something. But that was just, some jokey ideas floating around about why Mari appeared, how Yaski manifested Mari. But talking seriously here, Mari doesn't see Yaski as her daughter because remember, Mari from another timeline is Yaski's mother. But Mari here, of course, is only 15 years old. When she arrived, she was 13. She doesn't see Yaski as her daughter. In fact, as we were told, it even gives her shivers to think about that. She sees her as a younger sister. And Yassi also perceives Mari this way, an older sister. Okay. Now, talking about Mari's mom, our Mari's mom in that timeline, who was Athena, but not ours, she was about 35 years old when she was Mari. She was much older than our Athena, and there are also some physical differences. So she didn't have the same face as our Athena. Her face is different. However, her body is exactly the same, the structure and also the form of the face, but generally the features are different. And another change physically was that Athena, Mari's mom there, had dark eyes, just like Mari, and our Athena has blue eyes. Also, if you see Mari's eyes as black, they're not really black. It's just some light effects during addition. And her eyes are dark. They are brown. Of course, people are asking now, is, how is Mari's mom? Is she sad? Well, she should be. She would be very sad. Yes, we would imagine. However, as it was explained in the video, and I will extend this a little bit here. At the same time, it's happening in another timeline, right? She's there, so it's not occurring here. So from another point of view, from our point of view, it's not happening. It's not happening. And Mari, in her last video, said a phrase, and many people don't not fully understand what is meant by that. She said that timeline is not moving right. Okay, so okay, people start talking about the audio. I don't understand. Okay, whatever. So what does it mean that that line is not moving? So from our point of view here, and this is Athena explaining this, the other line is not moving because it's you, it's our consciousness, the observer, that animates any specific timeline. So if you are observing and your point of attention is here right now, this is the timeline you are animating, generating. It's real for you because, as we always say, we are all like singularity point. We are here, so this is the reality. This is real, and the other one at that time is not there. It's not moving. It's not within the range of our attention. We're not animating. I mean, we're not animating. So it's kind of like that quantum physics, theory where you're in the forest, and when you get out of the forest is not there anymore because there's no one to look at. So there has to be an observer, someone to look at something for that something to be real, to exist. So from that point of view, that timeline is not moving. And also, if you decided to go back to that timeline, even if you found it, you could return to the same starting point when mom disappeared. So her mom wouldn't even notice. She would notice her being older, but she wouldn't know that anything happened. Also, Athena said this here. You could return to the starting point of Mari, just that the movement of time cannot be compared to this timeline. There is no point of connection or reference between them. Either it's been just a nanosecond there since Mari left, or 37 million years, although those large amounts of time cannot really be measured. And Yassi today, in the Spanish life that where she entered, she actually responded to that question as well. That's what she said. She said, um, from this point of view, from our point of view, the other timelines do not exist. So you only have to focus in this one as the only real one, the one you are animating here as an observer. And at the same time, it could be said that no timeline exists, right? Because this is your consciousness that is forming all the timelines according to you, your point of observation. So, in other words, her mom might be suffering just because Mari is imagining it in her mind, in her consciousness. So, yes, he's trying to tell Anathena, Mari, not to worry about, focus this timeline. Can you hear me, Matthias? I don't know if you can hear me. Just so, sorry, guys. I had to leave because I had to cool off. I'm just so angry. I'm gonna start over, okay? Okay?